All right, let's get this bad boy out of the box. This episode of Some Gadget Guy is brought to you by viewers like you. All of the amazing people who share content across social media, and the generosity of my awesome patrons at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. More info on those awesome nerds later in the video. I think we're gonna see a lot of chatter about this right here. This is the OnePlus Pad 2. It just showed up on my doorstep, so I don't have a lot of informed usage on it. We're gonna take it out of the box, we're gonna set it up, and just kind of share some first impressions while I gear up to give this thing a proper review. I really liked the first OnePlus Pad, but I did not get to spend a lot of time with that tablet. I thought it was one of the best bang for buck deals in a high performance Android slate. And here is the beautiful OnePlus Pad 2. Let me see if I pull on this tab here. If I pull that, kind of pops out. Now, I'm happy to see more companies doing things like putting tabs and pulls so that it's easier to get a product out of the box. I think that's some really nice accessibility consideration. That one was a little stiff. It kind of popped out of the box right there. There's that big old camera sensor module like we had on the first OnePlus Pad. I just want to set this aside just to see in the main box what else we might have here. Got some papers and a cable. This box was super thin, so I wasn't expecting the full-on, the charger, the brick in the box with it. I'm pretty confident it's OnePlus. It'll probably play nice with my other OnePlus chargers. Always nice to have that real fast charging on a phone or a tablet. Just for a little splash of color, I'm gonna leave the box here. Let's take this wrapper off properly. Just kind of peel that back. Oh, this one's a little bit broader. There's the back of the slate. There it is, just a large glass surface ready for you to do all kinds of crazy things. Got a pair of speakers and a power button on one side. All right, we got the volume rocker right there. And that same sort of scooped feeling, there's that little edge here at the top of the tablet. I'm pretty sure that's where a stylus is gonna snap on and charge. USB-C and a couple more speakers on the other side. And then right there, we got a trio of pogo pins. That's where I think the keyboard is gonna snap on, make this kind of a little Android laptop replacement. We're just looking at the tablet right now. I don't have a stylus or a keyboard to pair with it. That's gonna be a part of a full review after I've had a little time to use it. Let's get this thing fired up. I really wanna see what's going on with this tablet. Little OnePlus spinner getting us started. And hello, what a lovely introduction. We're gonna tap on that. I speak the English. We're in the United States. Kind of fly through this here. User agreement. I'm gonna skip setting it up. I always like to set up my devices fresh. And we're gonna find Wi-Fi. Is it only finding 2.5 gig Wi-Fi? I really wanna set this up on my 5 gig Wi-Fi. Okay, and put in my super secret password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna hit save, showing internet, and it's getting our tablet ready. It's gonna download a few little updates and stuff. We're at 52% battery. While we go through the setup, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. I've got my extra long Nomad, and it's connected to my 65 watt warp charger. Should still be able to top off a tablet battery here. Let me say, don't copy, not next. It's checking info, it's checking info. That's kind of silly. It goes through 2 requests if you want to set it up off of another device. I'm an adult or a teen, at least last time I checked. And now I'm gonna just kind of skip through this so you don't see all of my Google credentials. Okay, we're back in. I've already set up a password, my super secret password of 12345, and the only other option here is a face unlock. So enroll face. For best results, keep the device 20 centimeters. I'm gonna see if I can just hover over it to set up my face. It's pointing directly at my little overhead camera here. Nope, that's not gonna work. You'll see it at an awkward angle. It's a funny angle. Oh, and that was it. Now I can unlock with my face. That's maybe one of the fastest face unlock enrollments that I've ever done. Okay, continue setup. Let's see what else we have to continue. I'm gonna say I agree for Google Assistant. For that keyword, that trigger there to start the assistant. I'm just agreeing to all this stuff here. Change wallpaper. I want a nice dark wallpaper. So let's see what wallpapers they've got. Ooh, do I go with the dark green? I think I kind of like that dark green. Gonna do this. We're just gonna stick to it. We're gonna apply to both home and lock screens. Ready to go. Oh, and also, yeah, it'll match the green on my my OnePlus Watch 2R. Elegant. Ooh, we'll do that. That was so dumb. All right, let me get out of wallpapers. I think we're all done setting this up. We can hit next. Getting the tablet ready, what we're actually here to check out. I'll sign into this later. I'm going to skip it for now. I have my red cable club membership somewhere. All right, I'm going to stick with the default screen display. We definitely want to use gestures. I don't need to learn the gestures. And Oxygen OS is firing up. Let's get started. Let's get it started in here. And we are greeted with a tablet. Very familiar looking if you've caught any coverage or if you are playing with a OnePlus Open, only now in a slightly wider aspect ratio, bringing me right back to what I really liked about the first OnePlus tablet. Oxygen OS has become a much heavier skin, but it's still one of the more fluid, responsive. It's got a really good feel to it. You know, flick up, just kind of check what apps are here. I'm not seeing a lot of bloat. We've got the OnePlus like clone tablet community. I think that's the OnePlus clock. There's the kid space, but that's a Google. WPS Office, I think that might be one of, oh, and Netflix. I keep forgetting, like, Netflix has just been such a consistent install, I tend to look past it, but there's not a lot on here taking up space. That's a really clean installation. I'm really happy to see that. Yep, nice and smooth, getting us into that little Google side there, I don't think. Oh, we've got the other couple apps just on a separate home screen here. I see we already have the little dock that can flick out. Welcome to Smart Sidebar. Let's go ahead and get that started. And this is really handy. This is one of my favorite additions that we find on the OnePlus Open, and the smaller version of this that actually ends up on OnePlus phones, where you can drag and drop to here. It's very fluid and it's very gesture heavy, but in a really organic way. So I think this is one of my favorite additions to the OnePlus UI. We pulled up the main app tray, but then we have this little guy right here where we can get a condensed list view, a bit more of like a start button menu of apps that are installed. And then I just want to check the notification shade. I just love how this is being formatted on tablets and on folding phones right now. This like panel view, it's very evocative of the Surface Duo. We're kind of treating this as like separate rectangular spaces. I think that makes tablet functionality really accessible. I mean, a lot of this is being brought in just from Android 14, and I'm sure this will get an Android 15 update. But it's like the little additions, like having a folder, recent files, recent documents, recent images that are very quick to access, so that then you can drag and drop into a number of other apps. These little OnePlus editions are pretty savvy. This is the kind of stuff that I wish Google was actually copying more. It leaves just a bit more of the sense of stock Android. It's not as grand a departure as some of these other manufacturer skins, but it's really clean functionality for gestures. And that's the thing that I think tablets need a lot of help with. Just opening up the gallery, we've got another little pop-up here just telling us about functionality. We can enable split view or floating window. And this is another thing too. I think OnePlus does this better than anyone else. Touch and hold to show the tap bar. Let's get started. We do have the ability to cut out. I loved this when I started seeing it on the OnePlus phones. You just tap and hold and it cuts out the subject. Now, obviously I don't have any photos. I literally just turned this on for the first time, but I wanted to show this off. Again, instead of making you go through the multitasking view, so you can go into multitasking and then tap on a little menu and you get these options, like you can lock an app, floating window, split screen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, I'm gonna pull and then I'm gonna pull up and there's a little release point right there. And now I've got a little floating, I've got a little floating app, and I can manage it just like a floating window in a more windowed desktop operating system. That's what I mean when I talk about an experience being just a little bit more organic. You only need the conveyance once of seeing that there's something that you can do. You pulled it up. Oh, wait, there's a little thing that's kind of turning on behind my finger. I wonder what that, oh, floating window, release. Oh, and look, it just did the thing that I wanted it to do. When we talk about conveyance and we talk about communicating functionality to the user, it's that kind of stuff that I think OnePlus has gotten a lot better at. Obviously, there's still room because there's going to be a ton of stuff. If I go into settings, we're going to have to get into like how it auto connects to phones. We're going to have to review how it handles power management. We're gonna have to see what kind of updates, but it's been interesting seeing the subtle differences in philosophy from the OnePlus Open to the Google Pixel tablet and the Pixel Fold. Google's version of this is really good, but I think OnePlus has actually solved a few of these usability quirks. Yeah, and there's a little micro dock right there, and then I can hold on it again to minimize it. Oh, that is really cute. That is a lot smaller than I was expecting it to be. Yeah, that's cute. All right, let's just do a quick, we'll do files, drag this over here, drop files. I have a new system version update. So even when it was checking for updates, it really wasn't checking for updates. I don't have anything on it. I have 2.7 gig of apps, but that was all that was kind of installed. This is the 256 gig version. Should be plenty for a little multimedia tablet, maybe get a little extra work done. I'll be curious to see how the Snapdragon in this performs. Given the Snapdragon a little bit more surface area to get heat out, I have very high expectations of this being a top tier performer. It was one of the things I thought was the coolest about the first generation OnePlus Pad was that Dimensity 9000. Giving it more surface area and a bigger battery, the Dimensity 9000 was performing almost a generation better that we saw in phone benchmarks. A little bit better cooling, a little bit more electricity, and we can get a lot out of these chips. So again, I really think this is going to be a screamer tablet, and especially once we start playing. Let me see if we've got like those same power management. So battery, we should have the more settings, high performance mode. When we really crank up the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, I think we're going to see some remarkable results. So I have a lot that I need to dig into. I'm going to start running the performance testing on this. Now, of course, this is where we plug the Patreon for all of the charts and the bar graphs. As I do real world performance testing, I do video render tests, I do audio podcast mixing, I do file compression, all of those tests. The first people who get to see my results are my amazing patrons, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. Now, I greatly appreciate everybody who is out there supporting their favorite content creator, especially you folks who are sharing videos on social media, helping us bump up those algorithms, really bring more people to the table and chat about some fun geeky stuff. But if you have the means, I hope you'll consider joining the community at patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. There's an early access tier. They get the private Discord, production diaries, and they're just a really cool group of nerds. So I hope you'll check them out. I very much enjoy hanging out over there. We're gonna see a lot of coverage on this slate, and I hope that we can continue contributing to conversations. I think it's too lazy to pick up a nice premium built tablet and say things like, tablets are solutions in search of problems, without actually telling you what problems this thing is gonna be able to solve. Something tells me that an 8 Gen 3 with a nice display, and hopefully if I can get my hands on that keyboard dock and the stylus, this is gonna be a fully featured experience that can go toe-to-toe with a good mid-priced or student-grade laptop. The performance is there. ARM chips are stonking powerful these days. It's so silly to put that kind of compute power in a phone and not have the ability to run more in-depth and heavier production tasks on it. So I'm gonna finish up this Oxygen OS update. I'm gonna plug this into a whole bunch of other accessories and displays, just see what this thing can really do. And if there's anything that you would like to know about the OnePlus Pad 2, don't be shy, drop some comments below this video or hit me up on social media. I'm just happy that we're seeing more companies start to take Android slates more seriously, bringing high performance and premium features to some respectable price points, giving consumers an option where it's not just Android is the garbage OS for the cheap disposable tablets. So that's enough rambling for me. I'm gonna finish setting this up. I'm gonna start benchmarking like crazy. I'm gonna be sharing those results on Patreon first, and then we're gonna do a follow-up where I've lived with it for a little while. I want to find some fun tasks, like maybe I'll put it up against Qualcomm's other big release for the year on Snapdragon X Elite, just for funsies. You know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy, basically everywhere, but these days I'm trying to spend a bit more time on the Mastodons, a little less so on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, and definitely not on the Twitters, and I will catch you all on the next review. Install. Verifying.